Toxic people don't respect you because you are kind. They take advantage of it. Imagine those same people who used to drain your energy now looking at you with respect and awareness. There is a small but powerful change in your behavior that can completely shift the dynamic, and you do not need anger, arguments, confrontation, or even changing your personality. If you want a deeper breakdown of how to apply this shift step by step, make sure you stay tuned, because the next part will show real examples where this works very fast in real life. The first and most important step in changing how toxic people treat you is realizing that respect is not something you force or demand. It is something you naturally attract through how you behave, the decisions you make, and the standards you keep for your own life. Many people make the mistake of trying to gain respect by arguing, reacting emotionally, or confronting toxic behavior directly, believing that if they explain themselves enough or defend themselves loudly, others will finally value them. But toxic people actually thrive in chaos, confusion, and emotional reactions. They feed on the energy you give them when you react to their behavior. The real internal shift that creates genuine respect begins when you understand that your worth and dignity do not depend on anyone's approval or behavior. When you consistently act in a way that respects your own values, your boundaries, and your emotional peace, toxic individuals begin to notice a pattern. They realize you are not easily controlled, not easily pressured, and not someone who reacts blindly. Your behavior becomes calm, intentional, and steady. This does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means becoming aware of your words, controlled in your tone, and stable in your reactions, so that everything you do reflects quiet strength instead of emotional chaos. Over time, this creates an authority that does not depend on shouting, proving yourself, or competing for attention. It comes from deep self-awareness and knowing exactly who you are without needing validation from others. When toxic people face someone who carries this kind of calm confidence and self-respect, they naturally begin to adjust. At first, they may test your limits, but soon they understand that emotional tricks, guilt, manipulation, or pressure will not work on you. Respect becomes a natural result of your self-control rather than something you chase or ask for. It becomes like an invisible boundary built from emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and inner clarity. This foundation changes everything else. Once your self-respect becomes non-negotiable, every other behavior such as silence, boundaries, confidence, and emotional control starts working together and increases the respect you receive, even from people who once tried to control or undermine you. The second step in this shift is stopping the habit of over-explaining and over-apologizing. This is one of the biggest silent weaknesses that feeds toxic behavior. Toxic individuals gain power when they can make you feel guilty, confused, or unsure of yourself. And nothing strengthens that dynamic more than unnecessary explanations or constant apologies for things that do not require them. Many people try to fix misunderstandings by explaining everything in detail or apologizing repeatedly, thinking it will make others understand them better. But the truth is that toxic people rarely respond to logic. They respond to emotional energy and boundaries. Every extra sentence you use to justify yourself, every unnecessary apology you give for simply making a decision, weakens your position and gives them more space to control the situation. The real shift happens when you start speaking in a clear, calm, and limited way. You say only what is necessary. You express your decision once, and then you stop. You do not over-defend yourself or try to convince someone who is not willing to understand you. For example, if someone criticizes your choice, instead of explaining for 5 minutes, a simple calm statement like, "This is my decision and I stand by it," carries far more strength. There is no emotional pressure, no over-justification, and no invitation for argument. That is where your power increases. When you stop over-explaining, you stop entering emotional traps. You shift from reactive behavior to controlled presence. Over time, toxic people begin to realize you are not easy to pull into arguments or guilt-based manipulation. They see that your words are final, your decisions are stable, and your self-worth is not negotiable. This creates a silent but powerful change in how they treat you. They start pausing before testing you. They become more careful with their approach because they understand you will not react in the way they expect. The third step is mastering controlled silence. This is one of the strongest tools in changing how people treat you. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Toxic people often try to create reactions. They push buttons, use insults, or try to create emotional discomfort just to see how you respond. When you react instantly, emotionally, or defensively, you give them exactly what they want. You give them control. Controlled silence means you do not rush to respond. You do not react emotionally. You pause, you observe, you stay grounded. This does not mean ignoring real problems. It means choosing when to speak and when not to give emotional fuel. When someone tries to provoke you, and you do not respond immediately, the entire dynamic changes. They no longer feel in control of your emotions. They start becoming uncertain about your reactions. That uncertainty forces them to adjust their behavior. Silence also communicates emotional maturity. It shows that you are not easily shaken, not easily manipulated, and not dependent on reacting to every situation. This creates a strong presence that naturally demands respect. Over time, people begin to notice your calm reactions. They notice that you do not panic, you do not argue unnecessarily, and you do not fall into emotional traps. Toxic individuals especially start to feel uncomfortable because their usual patterns no longer work on you. Controlled silence also gives you space to think clearly. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond strategically. When you finally speak, your words carry more weight because they are intentional, not impulsive. This is where respect starts forming naturally. Not through force, but through emotional control, consistency, and calm presence. The fourth step in creating a real shift in how toxic people treat you is setting clear boundaries and actually sticking to them. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling access to your time, your energy, and your peace. Without boundaries, people slowly start crossing lines, and toxic individuals especially test how far they can go. Many people fail here because they set boundaries but do not enforce them. They allow small disrespect, small favors that drain them, or repeated behavior that makes them uncomfortable. Over time, this teaches toxic people that limits are flexible, and once they learn that, they keep pushing further. A boundary is only powerful when it is consistent. If you say no once but later say yes under pressure, the boundary becomes weak. But when you calmly and repeatedly hold your line, the message becomes clear. You are not easily influenced, and your limits are real. For example, if you decide you will not respond to messages late at night, you must stick to it. If you decide you will not tolerate disrespectful tone, you must address it or step away every time it happens. No long explanations are needed, just consistency. Over time, toxic individuals start adjusting to this pattern. They realize they cannot easily control your availability, your emotions, or your decisions. They begin to respect the fact that you are not an open space for manipulation anymore. Boundaries also strengthen your internal confidence. Every time you enforce one, you reinforce the message to yourself that your needs matter. That self-respect then reflects outward, changing how others treat you naturally. The fifth step is confident body language. This is something many people underestimate, but it communicates your inner state even before you speak. Toxic people are very sensitive to nonverbal signals. They quickly notice hesitation, insecurity, or nervous behavior, and they often use it to gain advantage. When your posture is strong, your movements are calm, and your eye contact is steady, you send a different message. You show that you are grounded and not easily shaken. You do not need to act dominant or aggressive. Calm confidence is enough. Standing straight, keeping your shoulders relaxed, speaking slowly, and maintaining natural eye contact all build a presence that feels stable. Even your breathing plays a role. When you stay calm in your body, your mind also becomes more controlled. Over time, this creates a pattern that people notice. Toxic individuals begin to sense that you are not easily influenced. They become more careful in how they approach you because your body language already shows resistance to manipulation. Importantly, confident body language is not about arrogance. It is about calm control. It is the ability to stay composed in any situation without showing panic or emotional instability. When this becomes consistent, it reinforces everything else. Your boundaries feel stronger, your silence feels more powerful, and your presence naturally earns more respect without you having to say much at all. The sixth step is emotional detachment from outcomes. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting other people's behavior control your inner state. Toxic people often try to create emotional reactions. They want to see frustration, anger, guilt, or confusion because that gives them a sense of control. If you are emotionally attached to their approval or reactions, they can easily influence you. But when you stop tying your peace to how others behave, everything changes. You no longer react strongly to their approval or disapproval. You stay centered. You observe instead of absorbing. This creates a major shift in power. Toxic individuals start realizing they cannot easily disturb your emotional state. Their usual tactics stop working. They may try harder at first, but eventually they see that your reaction does not change. Detachment also makes all your other strengths stronger. Your silence becomes calmer, your boundaries become easier to maintain, and your confidence feels more natural because it is not dependent on external validation. The key is not to disconnect from people, but to disconnect your emotional stability from their actions. You remain aware but not controlled. You stay involved but not emotionally trapped. When this level of detachment is present, toxic individuals begin to lose influence over you. They start respecting your emotional independence even if they do not openly admit it. The seventh step is living in alignment with your values. This means your actions match your principles even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Toxic people often try to exploit inconsistency. If they see you compromise your values easily, they know where to push you. But when you consistently act according to your principles, they lose that advantage. This can be as simple as refusing to engage in gossip, not participating in manipulative conversations, or choosing what protects your peace even if others disagree. Every time you act according to your values, you strengthen your inner authority. People may not always like it, but they will respect it. Even toxic individuals begin to recognize when someone cannot be easily swayed. They adjust their behavior because they realize pressure tactics do not work on you. This alignment also builds deep self-respect. You no longer feel conflicted or regretful about your choices because they reflect who you truly are. That internal clarity reflects externally as confidence and stability. Everything else becomes stronger because of this. Your boundaries feel justified. Your silence feels intentional, and your presence feels authentic. Over time, consistency in values creates a strong identity that people cannot easily challenge. And that identity naturally earns respect even from those who once tried to manipulate or control you. The eighth and final step is using controlled power actions. These are small but firm behaviors that quietly show authority without aggression. Instead of arguing, you simply say no and stop the conversation. Instead of staying in manipulative situations, you calmly walk away. Instead of overreacting, you respond with clarity and then disengage. These actions are powerful because they are calm and final. There is no drama, no emotional escalation, and no need for approval. You simply act according to your standards. Toxic people quickly notice this pattern. They realize you are not easy to pull into conflict or emotional games. Their usual strategies stop working because you do not participate in them. Over time, this builds a reputation of strength. People begin to treat you more carefully. They think before testing your limits because they understand you will not compromise your self-respect. Controlled actions also reinforce everything else. Your silence becomes more meaningful, your boundaries become stronger, and your confidence becomes more visible without effort. This final step brings everything together. It transforms you from someone who reacts to someone who chooses. And that shift alone is what makes toxic individuals start treating you with a level of respect they did not show before.